Yeah, soul fragmentation. I'm going to do the whiteboard so that you can follow along. When we talk about soul fragmentation and why it's crucial for the therapeutic technique that we use, is simply because we've been saying this the whole day, but I really want you to understand at a soul level, there is no time. There is no past, present, and future. It's all happening at the same time, all of it happening at the same time. So when we think about soul fragmentation, our soul, we say that is this huge thing, this container, this energy that is so big and expansive, that is living, is having so many experiences throughout time and space. These are past life, future life, current life, parallel reality, all of it happening all at once. All of these lives have a lot of teachings, a lot of lessons, a lot of pain, a lot of happiness, a lot of gifts, spiritual gifts, physical gifts, talent, skills. We have infinite amount of potential lives that it will be impossible for us to tap into all of them. Why this is important though, is because the soul that is you, depending on what you come here to do in this life now, your mission, your life purpose, you have all of these potential realities happening at the same time. But if your mission here is to be very spiritual, or someone that is not spiritual at all, let's say, for example, an accountant that is not spiritual at all, but it's time for that energy, that soul, that spirit here to wake up to more than this reality. They might go through college, they go the masters, they are accountants, and one day they might still start having weird dreams and experiences. Ooh, this is interesting. What's going on here? They're waking up other realities where they were very spiritual. So they're tapping in their dreams to those reality. Now, let's say you're already very spiritual by nature, or you're supposed to find your spiritual self. And you go through a lot of time, even when you're 30, 40, 50. And one day something is going on. Something happens, normally something big, like a loss, like something that caused so much pain that causes you to tap into what else is out there. So let me give you an example. This normally happens with, let's say, life path number 11 or 33 or 22. The ones that are supposed to have a lot of spiritual, they're here to assist and become very spiritual, yet they have to be very grounded, because their challenge for life path number 1, 2, or 11 or 33 is that they don't know how to balance the spiritual with the physical. They get lost in it. They're either too physical or too spiritual, but it's hard to find balance. And this happens with a lot of people that are tapping into their spirituality. So life path number 11, for example, they might be having a lot of powerful gifts as a child, and they neglect that because it's too much. Eventually they grow up, and one day it come back again, and they start having experiences, and they might go so deep in it that they get obsessive with the spiritual aspects, so that they lose the physical aspect and they get lost in the spiritual. And eventually they start learning a little bit, and then they can balance both. And balancing the both is crucial in order for them to achieve their mission. But let's say the person doesn't get to the point where they can balance both aspects. That means that normally they will have to redo it, like have a redo of the life, right? So the person that is number 11 normally deals, because he has a lot of power of the 1, the 2, normally deal with a lot of power issues. So they might get lost in greed, money, material things. So that other lives where they had a lot of power become shadow aspects and influences their mind and their thinking and so on. The more that they go into the spiritual, then there are other lives where they come into contact that are very spiritual. Maybe they were healers. Anything is possible in this. We all have lived so many lives. We all have access to this. What you bring to the table is going to depend on your mission here now. So let's say in one life, they die because they were a witch. Another life, they die because they were use and abuse and so on. Another one, they did crazy stuff. Another one, they had a child and they lost a child, whatever it may be. All of those lives where there is trauma that the soul couldn't handle at that time becomes a fragment for them to work through it now. And they have to unite and release all of those lives so that they can feel better here now. Because normally these people are not very happy people. They can tap into energies and feel a lot of pain and suffering. So they're not very happy. When they release a lot of this, then they can get happier and happier until it gets to the point where they feel like, I'm alive. But for a good point, a good part of their life, they might be hopeless and helpless because they need to get to the point where they can see their power and what have they overcome with any life path, any person, regardless of the number. Especially if you're taking this course, it's because you're already gone through some of that. So these people, how do I erase this? These people, let's pick another example, eraser. So these people, the number 11s, the main challenge tends to be to balance the spiritual with the physical. For some other people, they're already very balanced. So what they need to work is to believe in the spiritual. And they're going to work through a lot of lives where they had a lot of power, spiritual power, but they don't know how to use that. So they feel disconnected from source, from themselves, from others. So there might be a feeling of disconnection. So when they're here working in the physical, they might have really good jobs, they might have really good life, everything is great, but there is something they feel like they're missing. And that could be the spiritual aspect. So when they start going through 40, 50s or so, and they got the money, they got the family, they had the house, the cars, but something feels like it's missing. Most of the time it's going to be the spiritual. Just letting them know there is a bigger purpose for all of this. And they start tapping in little by little. So in those lives, they probably went through many lives where they were disconnected, where they lost people die on them. Maybe they die and left loved ones behind, got stuck in the astral plane. Whatever has to do with sorrow, grief, loss, these people might have it. Number 8s are pretty good with that. Life path number 8s, there is something about them that is just like feeling disconnected. Like there is something about them that they just feel lost. Number 8s. So when you think about your mission, your purpose, and the traumas that you bring, most of the time there is going to be a common theme, even for the past lives. So life path number 22, master 22, is going to have a lot of issues with finding their power in building something big for themselves, their families, communities, and so on. It starts with ourselves. What can I don't believe I have what it takes to build my own business. Or I don't believe I have what it takes to become a highly corporate employee, highly paid. That is their problem. That is going to be one thing that they're going to work. And when they do sessions, you're going to find a common theme about not being capable, because Panzer 22, they're the master builders. So they have to build themselves. So a lot of the time they feel like they don't have confidence. They don't know what to do. They don't know even how to start. They're very indecisive. They don't follow their intuition, and so on. Where number 3, master 3, general 3, these people are very creative. These people have a lot of things that they want to express, but sometimes their communication sucks. So they might have a lot of issue with communication. They might feel like they're not understood ever. Nobody understands me. Whatever the issue is, it's going to be amplified, because if it's a life path challenge or a wounded healer challenge, it's going to be something that has been happening for many lifetimes. It's not just here. And because it's been happening for so long, that's why we feel hopeless in regards to that. Because it's like, how many times do I have to go through this? So number 3 may be very artistic, but they might not become a highly paid painter or writer or poet, because they're hopeless and they have no idea why, even though they're so talented, they cannot figure out how to become famous and recognized for their skills and talents. So depending on the mission, we're going to have a common theme, and that thing is going to repeat in many lifetimes, in many experiences, in many, 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 many lifetimes. So for the soul, all of this is timeless. All of these experiences are happening all at the same time. There is no such thing as past, present, and future for the soul. For the soul, all of these experiences, anything that is inside this bubble, let's say it's 10,000 lives, all of them are happening all at the same time. So we can call it soul fragmentation, because in every experience, there are positive things and negative things, and even the positive things can bring challenges to the one that is here. For example, in this life, I'm happily married, and my husband died, and now I feel lonely. So this loneliness that I feel here can translate to here, especially if my challenges that I'm supposed to work here are related. There is something resonating with that loneliness. Maybe here I was a dog. Maybe here, this dog may have been mistreated, and I'm here trying to find my power. So if I'm mistreated, I'm going to go to lives where there is something in regards to the symptom that I bring forward for the session. So I had a client with tendencies of what someone would call schizophrenic. The client goes to a life where he's a deer, and he's in the middle of the what was it, the how do you call this in English? He's in the middle of a wild forest type of thing, and he's like, I'm in the middle of the forest, and I'm a little tiny deer, and I'm so afraid that the lions and the tigers are going to come get me. And the deers feel helpless when it comes to the tigers and the lions. They can get eaten if they're not careful, right? and he's there alone. Something happens, and there is a huge snowstorm, and the snowstorm, was it a snow? I don't remember if it was or earthquake. Anyway, the point is that there is a mountain, a reef, and the little deer has to jump or gets pushed by nature, and he dies at the bottom. This person was feeling like in constant alert, directly linked to this experience when he's some in time and space a deer, in constant alert of danger, and dies alone. No one came to help. His bigger fear was, I could be eaten at any time by another stronger animal that can outrun me. And this is real to this person. This is in the subconscious. This is not a story that I'm feeding the person. This is a story that is coming from his consciousness. It's not from me. So another person might come to the session and says, I have stomach aches. And I have stomach aches, and I just feel like I have to go to the bathroom a million times. If I eat something, I have to go, and I cannot hold it. And the person might go to an experience. This happened recently. This woman ends up in a slave trade ship where she's a sex slave, and she's chained, so she had to poop and urine while standing up in chains in front of other people, directly linked to her stomach issues, because there was a lot of shame in doing that. So she was trying to hold it, but the body is letting her know something is happening somewhere else in time and space when this person is experiencing what she experienced. She was pooping and peeing on herself while standing up in a slave ship while other people were there. So it doesn't matter what happens or when it happens, the symptom that we bring is directly linked to multiple experiences throughout time and space. No, it doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes the person, when they're healers, they're going to say, I'm afraid of working with someone because I can hurt them. And normally what happens is they're going to go to a past life, or many, or maybe she was a witch, or he was a witch, or a sorcerer, or a warlock, and something happened that they were betrayed for, or that they were responsible for, so now they feel guilty. There is guilt at the soul level, or sorrow, or anger. They kill me out of injustice. And now if I do something like that, something similar can happen to me, because it's not safe to be a healer. Or I work with energies, and when I work with energies, it got out of hand. So now I have fears. And these fears are going to come to me because I need to wake up to my own power, my spiritual power, whatever power it is. And it may be tied down by the fears that I experienced because it got out of control when I had a lot of power. Maybe I use my hands to heal people. In my hands, something happens and my hands are cuffed, and now I'm going to prison and I die in prison. So I cannot use my hands again. Are you crazy? I'm not going to do that again. Or maybe I use my abilities to see, and I can see things. But when I share that, nobody believes me. So you know what? I'm not going to share nothing. these gifts are going to stay locked down because it's not safe to do so. So it doesn't matter when or past or future or present, if it's a parallel life. Sometimes the client is going to say, I think it's me now, but I don't know these people. They're in a regression and they're like, it's me, but I don't know who these people are, because they might be in a parallel life or an alternative reality happening at the same time in a different body that directly linked to this body. So from a spiritual point of view, this fragmentation is basically all of these lives that are happening at the same time. And because it's happening at the same time, if there is trauma, that means that there is less energy for this person here. So when we think about why this is important, is because the more fragmented, where there is trauma, the less power, the less energy you have for this life here. So when we start healing those lives, that means this little one here is getting more powerful and more energy. It's getting more consciousness, awareness, feeling whole. Wholer, is that a word? Because the traumas are disappearing. We're working through them. So automatically, all of these things that are affecting this person is going to feel better because these things are disappearing. This is all energy that is taken from this version here if there is trauma. Just like if you have trauma here, you are going to send those traumas to whoever is resonating with you, that is you in another experience. That's why when we heal here, we also heal the parts of us that are resonating with those pieces that are directly linked with this one. Did that make sense?
Mm.
Any questions so far? Okay. Now,
I have a question, Victoria. I'm sorry. When you have a trauma and you have your parts of your soul leave, soul fragments, that you want to come back, it just goes, where does it go? Is it just kind of like lingering in the spirit realm, or is it just like, how does that fit into all of this?
So this, should I start something new here? All of these things, these other realities that we are experiencing, all those little things, when we heal them, this one that you heal, that you work through 1,200 years ago, 50 years ago, gets to be released to unite with their soul. Remember, the soul is with source already, waiting for these pieces to heal. They're separated. When they unite, it becomes healed so that this energy gets amplified. And because you share a direct link, because you're alive here with your soul, you get some of that energy. So you feel bigger and stronger, more alive, more clear, more connected, more aware. And the more pieces you rescue, you say you rescue a lot, the more enlightened you become. Because all of these pieces are now sending you their teachings and knowledge to you without the trauma, the heavy trauma. The heavy trauma becomes knowledge and wisdom. But until you resolve that, it becomes pain and suffering. Did that make sense? When you release those pieces that are stuck in childhood, in the womb, in past life, in other lives, you release those spirits, these spirits, to the light so that it unites with the soul. And the soul shares the benefits with you by you feeling whole, more aware, more connected, more alive, wiser, compassionate, loving, because it's energy that was not there for you that is now there for you. So when you start healing, you become more confident. You want to experience things. You become more curious. You want to study. You want to meet people. There are things that start happening, and you're like, wow, I wasn't like that before. Or I lost it, and now I'm getting it back.
Okay, so it's not necessarily that when soul fragments, it's not necessarily that parts of your soul necessarily like technically left. It's more that it's just a part of you that needs healing, that stagnant energy there that you need to heal and then release back to spirit so you get that energy back to you.
No.
Oh.
This soul.
Sorry.
The soul. It's okay. I'm laughing because that's a good question. The soul has trillions and trillions of tiny little energy that is you. All these little pieces of energy is you, right? When there is a trauma, this little piece comes out and says, we're not doing this. So we need to go rescue that little piece that is there and bring it back. Same thing that happens in age, in this life, when we go through age regression. The little baby at 2 years old that was told that he couldn't dream because he wasn't going to be anything. This is the baby. And the mother says something, or the father or the teacher, and he says, you're not going to be anything. A part of this child, if he believed it, might stay in that experience when the mother is saying you're nothing. So this piece that says, that believed I am nothing, becomes a shadow aspect. So we go rescue that shadow. And we incorporate that shadow to here. So when this person dies, the soul can live 100% how it came, to be reunited with the master soul, so that when you reincarnate, you have these pieces with you. You don't leave no one behind. But normally what happens is that the person is going to leave so many pieces behind in experience because they have so much trauma and they didn't have the opportunity to heal. So all of these pieces are fragmented. We're going to have to unite them into one. And when we unite them into one and take it to the light, now this soul that is here uniting with all these pieces is going to feel bigger and wiser and stronger. So it's going to be able to share some of that with the person that is here in this life, having this experience, so that this person can feel way better and stronger and grounded and assertive and confident and whatever it needs to, whatever is missing, is going to start filling it out with the things that it needed. So when we think about this body is made out of so much energy that we see the skin. But when you really look at what composes the skin, is billions and billions and trillions of little particles, right? That makes one unit. We are energy beings in this body. When something happens to us, a piece of us may say, I'm staying behind. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not doing this. And those are the pieces that we go rescue. Now, if that happens in this life, imagine when you were 3 years old, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, 8, 9, 10, something happened that is still affecting you, whether you know it consciously or unconsciously. Now, at that times, however many other lives where something similar happened. And that's why it becomes overwhelming, because it's not just one experience. Whenever we experience something in this life, in childhood, especially the first 7 years, we're also opening up the past lives related to those experiences when we also felt whatever, abandoned, rejected, unwanted, unloved, and so on. Go through the age regression and we start looking at the age regression and the womb regression. We're going to see so many things that is going to be like, oh my. So this is actually from a clinical, an institute that works with EMDR and other licensed therapists to help them understand the transpersonal side of things so that they can open up to what else is there besides the things that they already know from the medical point of view. And the reason why this is interesting is because I want you, if you haven't been able to do this tonight, before tomorrow, after today, I want you to go through this document and make sure that you go through the different steps, how they broke this down, and what is there for you. I want you to contemplate on, how was life for me? Can I imagine what was life for me before being born? What was my mother going through? My parents, my country, my community? Before I was being born, like what was there? Is there anything there? And take it a little step further. When you start contemplating on the different things that could happen if you feel any of these things, and there is a lot of really good information here. I want you to contemplate on, do you feel homesick sometime? Do you feel like you're missing some place, but you don't know what place it is? Sometimes when we are given the opportunity to come here, I had quite a few clients that feel like they were exiled from the spiritual plane where they were. So they may feel forced to leave, and sometimes they miss someone. This happens with a lot of Libras too. They miss someone, normally a spiritual being, a soulmate, twin flame, whatever you want to call it, because they will go in different lives with someone specifically, but in this time, they didn't. That wasn't the mission. The mission was to come, do what you need to do, or learn to do it without that person, without that being. So a lot of clients have gone to before being born and done a lot of work to release the feelings of feeling like they left someone behind, especially if it's a spiritual being between lives before coming here. And sometimes they regret the fact that they came, so they might feel angry about the decision, or like they were played, like you convinced me, but I didn't want to do this, and now I don't want to be here. And they might even have suicidal ideations because they don't want to be here. They might also feel a lot of depression in childhood with no apparent reason why, and anxiety. So there is a lot of answers that can happen between lives for clients that may be feeling some of these things. And it doesn't matter. You do the session, you don't know where they're going, but if you do the session and they end up in between lives, you really have to develop that. It's a whole session, because a lot of the healing can happen in this day, in between lives, especially for those that are very spiritually inclined or that have childhood depression without clear reasons for that depression. Like nothing happened, parents were alive, parents were good, life was good, but still there is something that feels missing. This is possible with some of those people. They might feel rejection, abandonment, angry, shame. And then we go through the concession, and sometimes people can see themselves before the parents decided to have the babies, when they're choosing the parents and so on, and seeing, we allow the client to do what they can and have so much understanding that it's going to blow them away. So in the implantation and the process of the fetus growing, they're going to also see the challenges that mom and dad had, and even siblings. Did my siblings want me? Did my father want me? Were they fighting? I had a client, she goes and she's like 3 months old in the womb, and the father put a gun to the mother, and the child says, I feel something cold. And the father put the gun in the belly saying, I'm going to kill you and the baby if you don't do what I say. And it was very traumatic experience. And eventually after the session, she goes and asks her mom, did this happen? She said, how did you know that? I never told anybody. So a lot of revelations can happen with the womb regression. Or I had a client where her mother was having an affair and took her to the hotel. And the woman goes through the regression, and the child sees herself behind the sofa because she was so disturbed by the noises that were making. And she thought the man was hurting the mother because of the noise that she was making. So it affected her sexuality, because when she was having sex, she didn't want to make any noises. It kept reminding her of what happened with her mother and the lover. How disturbing can that be, So we don't know where we're going with something like that. The client may want to work on, this person wanted to work on relationship patterns, and she ended up in that experience when she was hiding behind a sofa because she didn't want to hear the noises the mother was making when she was cheating on the father. And I had another client feeling very unworthy because her father was looking at her very meanly when she drank the milk that was left in the fridge, because he said, this is for the stray cats. And she looked at him like, but I'm hungry and I'm your daughter. Why will you get upset with me for drinking the milk? You'd rather give it to the stray cats are more important than me. That's what she put in her mind. That's what he was telling her with that expression and the questioning, right? So she grew up believing unconsciously. And when she finished the session, she goes, I never thought of that until this day. She's regressed to a moment when her father is yelling at her for drinking the milk that was left, the little milk that was left in the fridge. She was 11 years old or something like that, 11, 12 years old. And the father gets upset with her for drinking the little milk that is left, that he was saving, organic milk for the stray cats. So something so small as one expression like that can make a huge impact on us growing up. I mean, there's so many stories. I can go on and on, but